Oh shit! Oh.
Supply drop.
There's a
Supply drop.
There's a motherfucker.
Supply drop.
The Days of Summer event on Black Ops 4 has brought a lot of interesting content, some new, some returning from old Black Ops titles, and for the most part, from what I played today over on PlayStation 4, I really enjoyed the content that was added. Specifically, the grind map and multiplayer, the ground war blackout mode, and the zombies gauntlet for Ancient Evil Labors of Hercules. To start, Capture the Flag played very well on all the maps. I tried it on Hacienda, Nuketown, Arsenal, and then finally Grind. Generally, the smaller maps didn't hold as well in terms of spawns and spawn traps. The dominant team usually always wins in Capture the Flag. That also didn't really change in the larger maps either, but it was a bit easier to avoid certain conflicts and to work around the spawns and to get the flags in the larger, more open, expansive maps, especially Hacienda. Overall, solid gameplay. The mode works well. It's not new, but in the land of Activision, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Blackout 50v50 Ground War was a very fun time for me, although I did find the same sort of polarization in the outcomes of the matches I was playing, where the more dominant team, the team that was able to knock down the initial player count first, tended to win the game. It's hard for a team of 8 players alive to come back against 42 other enemies, so I wonder if there's a way that they could implement a sort of team-specific or a team-locked supply drop feature in which during the late game, the less fortunate team, if you will, the one with less players, was dropped sort of locked or specific supply crates containing level 3 armor, sparrows, war machines, any type of gear to help turn the tides. The problem I see with that idea is, number one, there won't always be that sort of distinct uneven split in the player counts at any point during every ground war match. And number two, I don't know if Treyarch would instinctively implement them such that they were locked, quote unquote, to one team, thus allowing the dominant team to steal that gear, and then nothing is solved in the end. In fact, it makes it worse in some ways. But I digress. There is no perfect solution for ground war. I hope it works out in the end. I hope that there's some sort of rebalancing done at some point in the near future. But otherwise, I still prefer modes like Alcatraz, ambush, close quarters squads. I think those modes were a lot more fun because they upheld a sense of simplicity and balance that is, I believe, integral to the success and the popularity of Blackout, despite the $60 price tag. One more little detail to note is that you can now add attachments to the Grav assault rifle, or the Galil, in the Blackout mode, starting with the Days of Summer update. This is gearing up for the completion of the multiplayer community challenge of completing 15 million matches, which will give us the Grav weapon in multiplayer as well. So I think since they had to rework the gun to support attachments in multiplayer, why not also add that attachment support to Blackout? I hope they do the same thing for the Zweihander LMG thing, you know, that thing right there. The gun looks super cool, and I really wish Treyarch would try to push the weapon to its output potential by adding attachment support and different cosmetics, because it's been very bare bones since the launch of the game, and it doesn't seem like they've been looking into putting attachments on that, because it's more of a specialty weapon, but you never know with Treyarch. I'll admit, the first half of Operation Spectre Rising was very slow in terms of content. I can only hope that the dry spell does not continue with Days of Summer. I mean, it won't, because we'll get Alcatraz coming back next week in Blackout, and hopefully some more multiplayer stuff, and the release of Zombies Factions in a couple of weeks. Speaking of zombies, like Treyarch, I have been neglecting zombies all video long. So let's talk about the new Ancient Evil Gauntlet, Labors of Hercules. This one is by far my favorite, on top of the fact that Ancient Evil is my favorite map in Black Ops 4 Zombies. It's a very, very strong experience. If people have not checked it out yet, please go play it. It's a lot of fun. And so is its accompanying Gauntlet. I think the challenges are very unique. They're pretty doable. It's not the hardest, but it's still a great experience if you want to learn about the gauntlets and the shield building process, pack-a-punch, traveling to the dark side, all the cool things you would experience whilst learning the base map in regular zombies mode. I hope there's no buzzkill round between 20 and 30 that I haven't experienced yet, but from what I can see, it's a strong one, and I hope that means that the last 2 maps of the season will also be accompanied with good gauntlets, aside from the fact that the gauntlets themselves really don't reward like they should. If you're going to make gauntlets that require you to know Easter egg steps to complete, like we saw with Dead of the Night especially, I don't think that a couple thousand XP and 100 plasma and a couple of calling cards are sufficient rewards for the multiple hours you're going to invest in each gauntlet exclusively. So I think that needs an overhaul in terms of its output, its reward. I like the mode because it allows the developers to sort of stretch their creative imaginations to make cool challenges for us to experience, and that really do change the gameplay of zombies, at least momentarily. But I don't think it's revolutionary. It's not going to change the meta of zombies forever. People aren't going to come back to the game for the mode. We still need factions. We still need content. We still need DLC 3 and 4. I can only hope that Treyarch will implement the upcoming multiplayer contract system or the equivalent of that in zombies in the months to come. But since they haven't teased or released any information on that yet, I don't think we're going to see it during Days of Summer, or maybe even the next operation in July. They're going to be focusing on the release of DLC 3, hopefully following the late Days of Summer release of this rumored factions mode that was revealed over 380 days ago. But in the world of Treyarch, especially this year, things are very costly and not very timely. And I can only hope that Activision doesn't allow these practices to be pushed forward into Modern Warfare, because I don't want Infinity Ward's return to be tarnished by stupid micro DLC stuff that could be so easily avoided. So Activision, I know no one's going to watch this from Activision. No one watches this shit anyways. But it would behoove Activision to consider the moral ethics of what they're doing, especially in terms of the loyal fans that have supported them for, in some cases, 16 years now. Like, I just don't know how they think it's okay to paywall all the new content that these developers spend so long, endless nights, working to develop. Especially the art departments. I mean, my god, they're so underappreciated nowadays, now that calling cards and emblems and stickers are not as valuable as they were back in Black Ops 2. That's fine, people move on and things are going to change eventually, but Black Ops 4 has a focus on cosmetics, a lot of which, although they don't contain much raw value, they are being produced by humans who are paid to do very difficult and tedious jobs. Yet everything's overshadowed in release because of the way that Activision is putting this content out to the public. So please, Activision, do not ruin Infinity Ward. Please don't ruin my franchise. I love these games so much. And when you make mistakes, I get put in these funks emotionally that make me say things that lead people to believe that I am no longer a fan of COD. I haven't changed a bit. Out of all the things that I've lost and that have changed in my life since going into college and graduating high school, the one thing I have wanted and I've been adamant about staying consistent with is being a COD fan, loving the games that I do because they've always made me happy. But the persistent, almost cyclical bad launches and poor marketing and mistakes, they drive my friends away and they drive the community into this destructive phase or state of complaining and ungratefulness, and it makes us as a community seem sort of dysfunctional, like we don't like our own games, even though we do and we want to, which I understand because there's a lot of frustration towards the marketing tactics, but I do feel like some people out there like to create drama by hating for the sake of hating, nitpicking all the small things, which isn't going to drive us in any forward direction. I don't leave COD because I still enjoy the products and I have faith, and I am not going to sacrifice a year of fun or potential fun to make no difference at all. My individual pre-order, my one season pass isn't going to change Activision's mind, and I fear greatly that changing their mind, so to speak, is almost impossible at this point, because if you think about it, we've been very vocal as a community for the past 3 or 4 years about not liking the models that are in place. The problem with that, in my mind, is that because Activision is losing sales due to things like poor marketing tactics, bad game quality at launch, and people not liking certain aspects of the gameplay, exosuits, futuristic settings, etc. To make up for that lost revenue, that lost projected revenue, Activision is now pushing more egregious and aggressive marketing models to help make up for that lost money. So I don't think that boycotting COD or hating on it or cursing out Activision or not buying their games is going to actually solve the problem, but instead lead them to panic more and make more, in our minds, unethical marketing decisions. But then again, being complacent with the things that are in place now, the quality of the games that we're getting nowadays, is also not going to produce any change, because Activision will again think that everything's fine, inflate their ego, nothing needs to change. So no matter how you look at it, either side of the dice, I don't think that we as a community have full control over the fate of Call of Duty. I think that the internal moral changes need to come from Activision themselves to treat their community with more respect, better communication, better roadmaps, more clarity. And if they're going to do loot boxes or any sort of black market, they need to have all the odds listed out. What are you going to get How are you going to obtain it? And what are we putting in there? Is it going to change the gameplay or not? And this honestly horrifying feedback loop I've proposed, it kind of makes me want to give up on the franchise, because I don't think there is a resolution to the unrest that I've seen in the franchise, in the community rather, over the past 5-6 years. I don't think that will ever end. And therefore, I don't think that the quality of the games is going to skyrocket. I don't think my friends are ever going to be as interested in it as they once were. But then again, I have this sort of investment, emotional investment in the name, the games themselves, that I think is, for me, going to play out as sort of a go down with a ship sort of scenario. But I also need to be level-headed and consider that it may be safer to sort of jump overboard before that ship sinks if it makes me unhappy enough. That's why I've been building my gaming PC setup, VR, recording, things that I can fall back on to keep the hobby alive, but also escape the things, the aspects of Call of Duty, or maybe the whole franchise as a whole, if it reaches a level of toxicity that I can't overcome. I'm human, I have limits too. I've loved supporting these games, but all good things have an end, and I will always be grateful. And I'm trying to be positive. That's my biggest thing. I've been trying to be more positive about COD and about gaming, about myself, because people started realizing that I was getting into these really scary ruts where I lost hope in not just COD or gaming, but myself, life in general. And I don't think it'd be healthy to keep even a small thing like COD or gaming in my life if it's only sort of perpetuating my more personal issues. That's what I think the future of COD will be. All very uncertain, as all of our lives are. That's the fun of being us. But I hope that you stick with me in the months to come. I hope you continue to give Call of Duty a chance. Try Modern Warfare, play the beta if they have one. Come back to Black Ops 4 in a couple months and see how it ended up. But don't give up on it. Don't stop buying the games. It's not going to do anything but make you unhappy, especially if you love Call of Duty. Take the time to enjoy the games and the hobbies that make you happy or calm or sane, whatever your reason. Don't abandon them because people tell you to or because it feels wrong. Give it time to grow on you, to readjust, to sometimes recover, and other times not so much. Let time take its course, and I promise you, you will always find your way in the end. Call of Duty, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, Treyarch, I love you all so much. You've made my life livable. You've made me a better person, and your games are some of the best works I've ever had the pleasure of interacting with. It's gonna suck when this is over, and I have to move on to this adulting shit and living a normal life, I guess. But I will always cherish the memories, the experiences, the friends, the great games. But in the end, it will suck. Big, fat, white cock when this fun joyride, I guess, stemming from my childhood, finally comes to its destination. Thank y'all for listening. Take care of yourselves. Have a great week, and I will see you very soon. Peace.
So look, the thing about us is we'll fuck with you. Trust me, our narrative team will fuck with you.
The fuck you say to me, you little shit?
Black Ops 4 doesn't have a traditional campaign. We're weaving narrative into each of the modes.
How are you not in fucking school?
It's the deepest, most replayable game in our history. Now let's...